Hey folks, welcome back. Another Poem Master video, and today we're going to talk about Leon and Calyrex, right? For those who got him. First of all, if you did, congrats, right? And yeah, let's talk about this unit a bit. And he's very good, right? He's very good unit. Just quick glance at everything, good attack. Speed's not that great, which is, in my opinion, his biggest downside, right? Outside of the Glacial Lance AoE, but the upside of Glacial Lance being AoE is obviously you could freeze the entire opponent's team. Yeah, the speed's not that great. I guess defense aren't that great, but I mean, it's a striker. You're not using him to tank anyways. Very rarely would this be that big of an issue. You could easily max out all your stats by yourself, so you don't really need a support, right? You don't really need one, but you could get one if you want to start attacking faster. You do get this, right, every time you use a trainer move, so it's not like it's like a bad thing, that bad of thing using trainer moves yourself, but generally I'd say it's better just to have someone else buff your stats, right? Unless you're just doing it for fun, you want to see big numbers, but generally it's better just to buff your stats, because like even with this, right, you're still losing 60% of your damage that you would have, you know, done if you had like a support buffing you instead every turn. So you're getting 40% of the back, but you're still losing 60%. So I'd still prefer just having a support, you know, max out all your stats for you while you know, just throw out those big glacial lances, right? Vigor Flex to raise your attack by 2 when you KO opponents. I'm not a huge fan of this, right? Unless you could get like really early KOs on some super weak sides, then sure. But like outside of that, not a fan. Just max out his attack somehow with support or whatever, right? Because again, you can only get +4 attack here, right? So that's a big one. Cold Snap too. He has I wonder if I have 30% chance of freezing the entire team, right? Which is obviously very good, because freeze is relatively hard to come by. He is the best freezer in the game, right, by far. So all right, let's check out the grid. In terms of like skill, damage dealer, just your regular, you know, usual. You want Crit Strike 2. If you can't get Crit Strike 2, then get him Crit Strike 1. If not, then Power Flux 3, right? Stuff like that. All right, moving on to his grid. At 105, you really don't get anything. Snow Shelter if you're running with a Hail unit. If not, then you don't even need that. If you, again, you're just trying to like save on your co-op orbs, right? Pick up the Glacial Lance stuff, you could do that. You could pick up attack over here, Glacial Lance. There's a speed node that you could also pick up that are pretty nice. And that's basically that for 1 out of 5. Again, if you have the orbs, pick up everything, right? At 2 out of 5, you have some stuff which aren't bad, right? Invigorating Hail, if you want to run him again in a Hail comp, that's an extra 10%. It's not that much of a buff. It's only 10%, but I mean, you know, you're on a 2 out of 5 grid. There's not like that much stuff. So yeah, unless you just don't want this 10%, because then you'll have to like slot another Hail unit, which is totally legitimate, right? So again, there's 2 ways. If you're running Hail, you could do this, right? With a heavy Hail here as well. Freeze Synergy, Freezer Burn. You can do something like this. If you're not running Hail at all, again, you just don't have to pick up stuff like this. You just spend your energy elsewhere, I guess, right? Stuff like these Glacial Lance power-ups. Although again, there's not like a lot of places to really spend your energy, honestly, right? Because there's not that many good nodes outside of you know, a few over here, right? So there's some power-up nodes, Headstrong, just in case, right? In some stages, but yeah, there's not that much, not that much you can really pick up, right? So moving on to 3 out of 5, this is obviously where you get most of your stuff. You get your Glacial Lance roaming speed is over here, right? Which obviously probably is the best node in his grid, I want to say, right? You come down here, you can pick up Freeze Synergy, Cold Snap, that's a big one, right? So that turns your freeze chance, AoE freeze chance, at 44% chance to freeze the entire team, which is again, in this case, the highest in the whole game. Freezer Burn 5 if you're syncing with him, right? If you're not syncing with him, which is fine, he doesn't have a terrible sync. I personally don't like it that much because it does rely on freezing the opponent to get that extra 50%. But if you want to play it I guess a bit safer, then sure, you don't have to go for that. You could instead use that energy on like some other stuff. There really isn't like that much stuff. Like all this stuff, you just can't really reach. I guess you could reach Mighty Rush 9, but it's only like one physical. It's only like 140% after like your sync move. So it's like a Freezer Burn 5, except like 40% buff instead of 50% buff. And on your regular Glacial Lance move instead of your sync move. So I'm not a huge fan of Mighty Rush. Super Victory, it depends. It's like not that bad. Again, if you are fighting, obviously super effective. But it's just not really feasible in terms of like trying to pick it up. Because like none of these, I'd just rather have like all this stuff instead of just going for like Super Victory, right? So yeah, if you don't want to pick up Mighty Rush, just pick up again just Glacial Lance power-ups. And if you are running with Hail, actually, we can't even reach Invigorating Hail, right? Unless we do this. You don't have Snow Shelter, but congrats, you have 10% more on Invigorating Hail, which is fine if you're running a Hail unit. But again, I wouldn't really run a Hail unit just to have Hail on the team for him. I'd run a Hail unit if you were going to run that Hail unit anyways, and that Hail unit provides some other stuff to your team outside of just buffing Leon, because just buffing Leon is 10% not really that worth it in my opinion, right? But if you are fighting Ice Week stages, you want to throw in like a Nessa, right, for some extra damage, that's fine. Or Candace for like, if you're using Candace to nuke, right, then that's totally fine as well. Get that extra 10%, but I just wouldn't pick this up and then throw in an Ice or Hail unit when you don't really need one, right, on your team otherwise. So speaking of, moving on to some team comps over here, right? So this is one that you could run. Sonya Yamper, Leon Calyrex, and Nessa Ice-Q. Not a lot of people will be having this at the time of the video releasing because, well, Yamper's not out yet, and these are all relatively new units. But this is nice because, again, if you are fighting Ice Week, right, Nessa is definitely a solid secondary Ice-type damage dealer out there, right? Because you definitely want to run another damage dealer with Leon to compensate for in terms of damage-wise AoE, right? So Nessa over here would definitely be nice. Again, you also have that Hail, which you could utilize with the Leon, pick up that extra Invigorating Hail 1. Right, and then Sonya, you get all these, the buffs, which are nice, because you do need to max out his attack. Also, you need to max out Nessa's attack, so Sonya over there, got the Galatheme skill going on. You got all these, again, the easy buffs over here, right? And also move gauge acceleration, which is really, really nice, because, again, Leon is kind of slow, which is one of his downsides. Both move gauge acceleration, obviously, you easily take care of that issue. Defense crush as well. Both of these units are physical, so you debuff the opponent's defenses. They both do more damage. What else is there? Crit Squad makes it so it's faster to buff these guys, crit, right? Because again, even though he does get the physical move up next, it's just better to like have someone else buff your stats, right? Because you're losing less damage per turn, right? Obviously, don't have to go for Sonya Yamper. Hilbert's fine too. He's just not, as good overall, right? But so Hilbert's fine. Just any these attack buffers. Bugsy, if you could survive, right? Same thing with Lieutenant Surge. They're all generally fine. And outside of Nessa, there's other options, right? You could run Curum for like double AoE, Cold Snap Freeze. That's really, really fun. Obviously, if that's the case, you don't want Raichu, you want someone else, right? Something like a Faulkner would be nice over here. Faulkner Swallow would be nice. Kiawe would be good as well, right? Buff both these stats. Singsu Blue, whatever, right? Just again, someone just to fix their speed as well as help them max out their offensive stats. What else? You could do Price with like double freeze synergy 8, which is what freeze synergy 16, right? Which is fun sometimes. Although it's slightly overrated because Price even if you do get both free synergy aces, you just do like that much damage, but it's like solid damage, right? But like a lot of these ice types, right? Ice Steven, you could do that as well. Steven Sand Slash, he also has freeze multipliers that you could take advantage of. There's just so many, right? That you could throw in there. Let's just look at the ice types. Pick an ice type and then you could throw that in there, right? Pick an ice type and you're good. If you want to throw in Abomasnow and like sync nuke with Abomasnow, that's fine. Crabominable might be a bit too slow for the whole team, but obviously, you know, he's the Crabominable after Leon is like, you know, second best ice type damage dealer, right? So he definitely has a shot as well. So anyways, yeah, that's maybe this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoyed. What you guys think in the comments down below. Like, share this video, subscribe, for some more Pokemon content. We'll see you guys in the next one.